Okay, so let's look at some more hyperbolas. This time we've got this x minus 2 underneath. So it's a little bit different from the other ones we've looked at. So what value of x can't we have? And so we can't have this equaling to 0. So that means that x can't equal 2. Okay? If x was 2, then this would be 0 underneath. So now we need to find our, what are we finding? Our horizontal asymptote. Spell horizontal asymptote. Okay, so we've got our horizontal asymptote. We've got to figure that out. So that is when we're looking this way and this way. So we've got x going out to infinity. So as x goes to infinity, so we've got to figure out what y is. So this is going to be a huge, huge, huge number. Huge number take 2. It's not going to make any difference. So all of this is going to be 1 over a huge number, which means that this is going to be tiny. So it's going to, y is going to approach 0, and it's in the positive direction. So it's going to, on the positive side. So it approaches 0 from above. So now we've got as x approaches negative infinity. So we've got x coming down this way, so this is a huge negative number. So if that's a huge negative number, say 1 million, negative 1 million, take away another 2, it's still going to be a huge number. So it's going to be a huge negative number over 1, so that means it's going to be, where's my pen? There it is. Y is going to approach 0 again, but from below. Okay, so that means our horizontal asymptote, is going to be y equals 0. So that is this one all the way along here. Oops, I haven't put my y. Oops, where am I going? Didn't label my axis up there, and so that asymptote is going to be y equals 0. Okay, so we've got that. I'll rub that out. Yep, there we go. So now I've got to find my vertical asymptote. Now, if we go back and think, got that done. If we're going back and think about how this affects a parabola, we know that it goes that way. Okay, it's the same thing with a hyperbola. It's going to move 2 units to the right. So how do we do that mathematically? So as x approaches, now we used to say 0, okay, but in this case, x could be 0, because if x was a 0, this would be negative a half. So it's 2 that we're looking at here. So it's because it can't approach, it can't get to 2. So as x approaches 2 from above, so that'll be like 2.0001, take away 2, this is going to be a tiny number here. Okay, so imagine 2.0001, take away 2, that's going to have 0.00001, a tiny number over 1 gives a huge number. So that means y will approach infinity. Then we've got as x approaches 2 from below. Okay, so y approaches, what's y going to approach? So instead of 2, this is going to be negative 2 from below, sorry, not negative. 2 from below is going to be like 1.99999. Take away negative 2, this is going to end up with a negative 0.0000. So once again, a tiny weeny little number under a big number. It's going to be a negative number, so y is going to approach negative infinity. So our vertical asymptote is going to equal, what's it going to equal? X equals 2. Okay, I'll just pause it for a sec. Okay, so I've drawn in my asymptote here. I've got my 2. I've labelled my asymptote, so everything's looking alright. So now I've got to deal with this part. So as x approaches infinity, y approached 0 from above. So I'll put my little arrow in there. Then I've got as x approaches negative infinity, so this way it's approaching 0 from below. So put in my arrow there. Now I've got as x approaches 2 from above, so 2 from this side, y is approaching infinity, so there we go. So this is starting to make sense. If you end up getting it so it doesn't make sense, you know you've done something wrong down here. So as 2 approaches negative infinity, as x approaches negative 2, which is this side, y is approaching negative infinity down here. So once again, that's starting to make sense. I've got my arrows in the right spot, and I join them up. Now, when you're drawing your arrows, this is obviously not very good on my part. You've got to make sure that these aren't curling away, okay? If it's curling away, not going to be the examiners aren't going to be very happy. So you need to draw them really close and carefully. It's a bit hard using this app and what I've got, so you just have to bear with me. So we've got that, and now we need an extra point. So we've got this point here. So this point here is when x equals 0. So can we work out when x equals 0? So let's go easy. So we want our y-intercept this time, and that's when x equals 0. So when x equals 0, we get y equals 1 over 0 minus 2. So y is going to equal minus a half, which makes sense. So we've got our minus 1/2. I could have found another point if I wanted to put one on here, but we've got that, we've got everything labelled. So asymptotes labelled, axes labelled, I've got a point, an extra point, which is this, and so everything's done. There you go.